don't know if you've heard, LaVar Ball had some comments about LeBron's son. LeBron heard those comments while here in Los Angeles and commented essentially saying, "You've been warned, keep my children's name out of your mouth." Basically, it's dad to dad, don't bring my family into this. LaVar Ball on First Take earlier, the show that precedes ours, and he didn't back down. Let's take a listen.
Anytime you talk about somebody's kids, people get real touchy. Okay, that was my opinion on what I felt about it. Somebody asked me a question about that. I just didn't come out and say, well, you know what? I think my boys are going to be better than LeBron James boys. I don't care what he does with his family. Let him do what he's going to do. But for him to say he warned me and keep words out of my mouth, you talking to the wrong dude. I'm going to say whatever I want to say, and ain't nobody going to do nothing. Come do something.
You know good and damn well you have no business mentioning your name in the same breath as Michael Jordan. You know your son at this point ain't on Steph Curry's level. You know too much about basketball.
Why he not on his level? Who said so?
Not yet. Not yet.
You
not
want
yet,
him to play
not
one-on-one?
yet. Excuse me? Let me ask you a question. Would your son get money playing one-on-one? No, he's going to play 5-on-5.
Exactly.
So we're talking about him.
Talking about
all right, then. So if you're talking about 5-on-5,
yes.
if you're talking about marketing your son and making money because your son is so great, then I don't want to hear one-on-one.
You know what I
out
should
of your
do?
mouth.
I should
One-on-one
bag
coming
up
out of your
and
mouth.
let everybody else make the money off my son. And when they finish, give him back to me.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that. Joined now by Stephen A. Smith. So obviously I wasn't able to see the entire interview, but it's blowing up all over social. When you said, "I'm not mad at that," what were you not mad at?
Well, I'm not mad at the fact that he's clearly playing to the marketability of his children, and he's not being apologetic about that. He's making it very, very clear that in this day and age, there's a plethora of corporations, individuals, hanger-ons, whomever, that try to make money off of children all the time. Whether it's the sports leagues themselves, whether it's the NCAA, whether it's AAU and beyond, everybody is finding a way to exploit to these kids. He's like, these are my children. These are my sons. You know, I trained them. I helped them get to this point. And I'm putting the world on notice that their talents ain't going to be any less free than anybody else's.
Right.
And I respect that. That is honesty. Would I go about doing it the way that he's done it? Absolutely not. That's not my style. That's not the style of a lot of people. But I met him for the first time doing First Take.
Right.
And we spoke after. And he knows what he's doing. So, again, that's his style. I respect it. He's confident in how he's raised his kids, that it's not going to be to their detriment. I can respect where it's coming from. Would I do it that way? No. But talking to him and understanding that there is a method to the madness,
of course.
I can't hate it.
Yeah.
And he's very honest about it, non-apologetic about it. And in that regard, again, everybody's got their style. He's got his.
There is a method to the madness, and you can't make everybody understand that, and he knows it. But when he was on the show, I said to him, what you're doing reminds me in a very boisterous way of Richard Williams. He wasn't the first dad to say my daughters will be, or my kids will be the greatest at. But Richard was really quiet about it.
Well, you would know that better than me because you were covering tennis.
Yeah.
What I would say to you is that even when Richard wasn't quiet, it was after the greatness of Venus and Serena was cemented. My issue with LaVar Ball, particularly before he came on the show, and I had an opportunity to talk to him more extensively about it, my issue was your sons haven't arrived yet. Two of them were, eliminated playing high school ball, if I remember correctly, just recently. I think UCLA is going to lose tomorrow night to Kentucky. Sorry to say, because I know you're a Bruin, but I believe they're going to lose tomorrow night. I wouldn't mind if they won, but I think they're going to lose to Kentucky. What I'm saying is I don't know what Lonzo Ball is going to do on the next level. I believe in him. I believe he has that capability, but I'm just saying you cutting a lot of checks. Your sons are going to have to cash, not you. And he's like, wait a minute, but there's money to be made before, and I'm not going to miss out on that.
Right.
And he's saying that as plain as day, and I can't hate on that.
I don't have a problem with that, but I want to talk to you about the issue that whenever we see him on TV, people are like, why? He just is so much. He's doing the most. We don't like him. What is it about him that a father promoting his children, being in his kids' life, especially a black father, holding them down, why does that turn so many people off in terms of how he's going about it?
It turns people off, which is what I told him in fairness to him, to his face. It turns people off because it appears to be more about him than the kids. When you're like him talking about he'll beat Michael Jordan in one-on-one, what that got to do with Lonzo? Him talking about my son is better than Steph Curry right now. That might be about Lonzo. Him talking about what his kids are going to do and how he's going to command $1 billion. Yeah, that's somewhat about his kids, but it's more about him and what he is going to demand as a father. So the issue that people have had with him has nothing to do with his children. It has everything to do with the fact that they believe he's making it about him. And I told him flat out, my concern with him is that the world that we're living in, social media and beyond, everybody's got a camera phone. Because you're making yourself such a target, they can't touch you because you're a grown man with nothing to hide.
Yeah.
But they could go after innocent kids because we know how malicious this world is.
Sure.
His response was very interesting. I know how I raised my kids. I know how they conduct themselves, and I know how they will handle themselves. I'm not worried about anything people are going to say because that's all it's going to be, talk. My children know how to conduct themselves, and they will always be upstanding. I respect that as a parent.
And it's true. His son is the most quietly confident kid you'll ever meet, and they'll say that. The Bruins say it all the time. He doesn't have that arrogance about him. It's a quiet confidence.
Well, my response to that would be, that may all be true, but the world that we're living in is so
may not
vicious.
agree with that.
People lie on kids all the time.
Okay.
There's no code of ethics anymore where you're like, their kids, leave them alone. People bother kids now.
They do.
Grown folk bother kids now. And so why make them more of a target because you're opening your mouth as their daddy? That's my take.
Okay.
But I do respect what he told me when we spoke.
Let me ask you this. After meeting him, talking to him on camera and off camera.
He's likable.
Super likable.
Yes.
Do you think he's doing it for himself? Because I don't.
No, I think it's for all of them. I think it's for himself, too. He's no innocent bystander.
Yeah, no, but I don't think he's just like, look at me.
Yes, there is some
Do you
of that
think
in
he's
him.
like, it's mostly me or it's the kids?
no,
He cares about his kids.
Well, there's no question he loves his kids. He's their daddy, and he seems to be a great, great father. But there's no question that some of it is for him. That is undeniable. In the end, what we have to ask ourselves is he wrong? Is he wrong when he says the NCAA makes money off of kids, the leagues are going to make money off of kids, why can't I? Is he wrong with that? The answer is no. Would I do it the way he's doing it?
No.
Hell no.
Yeah.
But I got to respect that he's very transparent with what he's doing and very unapologetic. And in a world where people are liars and they're all about being politically correct and beyond, it is a bit refreshing to hear somebody stand up and say, this is the way it's going to be, and it's okay.
What do you mean it's refreshing to hear someone give their opinion unfiltered, Stephen A.? What do you mean by that? I don't even know you that you do such a thing.
Well, of course I do it, but everybody's not Stephen A. You know, so that's what it is.
Quick, wait, I forgot to ask you. Is he wrong? Can he beat Jordan one-on-one?
Of course he's wrong. This is nonsense. LaVar, listen, there's two things. First of all, there's a couple of things. LaVar Ball would not have beaten Michael Jordan. LaVar Ball would not have beaten Charles Barkley. And LaVar Ball, I made sure to get his number because I told him I'm going to be texting him tomorrow night. He talked about he ain't even waiting. He don't even want to see his sons doing the tournament until the Final Four. He ain't even thinking about it because they're going to the Final Four. Well, Lonzo Ball better show up because his daddy has cut some checks that Lonzo is going to have to cash. He's got the skill set to do it. I love what I see from Lonzo Ball. He's a big-time player. He's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft, maybe number 1 depending on which team gets the number 1 overall pick. But it does not negate the fact that right now he's under pressure because his daddy has been chirping a bit too much, and I say that affectionately because, again, I like LaVar now.
That's your buddy.
But well, he ain't my buddy. I don't know him, but I like him. I like him. He's honest and he's unapologetic, and I can respect that. But his son has got to show up. We will see what he does.
Go back and watch that. I know you just got off air, but you got to watch that split screen, y'all. Entertaining television.
He's crazy. LaVar's crazy.
Okay.
I say that affectionately.
Okay.
The brother is crazy. But it's all right. It's all right.
First Take in L.A., Stephen A., the host, joining us here on Coast to Coast. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
David, back to you.
All right, Carrie, we got a college basketball coach's perspective on this. LaVar Ball has certainly raised the profile of his son. He's raised the marketability of his son.
So is UCLA.
As Stephen A. put it, though, put a little bit of pressure on his son as well, maybe steal some of the attention. I don't know. What is he good or bad for Lonzo at this point in Lonzo's life?
Look, I think he's a great dad because the way Lonzo carries himself is so impressive. The poise, his character. He's a terrific teammate. He plays the game the right way.
Great kid.
I mean, he is really impressive. To me, is he putting pressure on the kid? I don't think he's putting pressure on the kid because the kid, you know what? That's who his dad's been his whole life. That's who he is. But for him to say that, everyone's getting over on his son, UCLA's given him a stage. UCLA's put him on a platform. So, like, if he just wanted to go make money, you know what? Don't go to UCLA. Go overseas. Go make money. Start your marketing there. But, look, he's Kris Jenner. To me, that's what he is. He's a reality show. LaVar Ball is Kris Jenner. He's a reality show waiting to happen, and the kid just happens to be along with it. Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
He's talking about the $1 billion contract for the shoes for all 3 sons. We know one commodity, all right? Lonzo Ball is a big-time player that's going to be a top 3 draft pick. The other kids, they're high school players that didn't win a state championship. I mean, let's not put them in the same category. They are ifs.
They're pretty good players.
They're nice players. They're nice players. Okay. I mean, a young kid probably a little bit better than the middle child, but they're good players. But they're high school players. Let's not. Hey, we thought Lenny Cook was a great player way back in the day when he and LeBron were coming out of high school. He never played a day in the NBA. So let's not fast forward and put all 3 of them in that same category. We know Lonzo can play at an elite level and help elevate a team, create an epidemic of passing, be a great teammate. The other 2 guys are just high school players, but he's using the system. We've given him a platform, and you know what? He's a brilliant marketeer. Thank goodness the kid is grounded.
Yep. It seems like it's working for them right now. Okay, looking forward.
Your son at this point ain't on Steph Curry's level. You know too much about basketball.
Why are you not on his level?
No,
said so?
Not yet. Not yet.
You
not
want
yet.
him to play
Not
one-on-one?
yet. Excuse me? Let me ask you a question. Would your son get money playing one-on-one? No, he's going to play 5-on-5.
Exactly.
So we're talking about him.
Talking about
all right, then.
5-on-5.
So if you're talking about 5-on-5,
Yes.
if you're talking about marketing your son and making money because your son is so great, then I don't want to hear one-on-one coming out of your mouth.
I should
One-on-one
bag
coming
up.
out of your
Opinion on what I felt about it. Somebody asked me a question about that. I just didn't come out and say, well, you know what? I think my boys are going to be better than LeBron James boys. I don't care what he does with his family. Let him do what he's going to do. But for him to say he warned me and keep words out of my mouth, you talking to the wrong dude. I'm going to say whatever I want to say, and ain't nobody going to do nothing. Come do something.
You know good and damn well you have no business mentioning your name in the same breath as Michael Jordan. You know.
And let everybody else make the money off my son, and when they finish, give him back to me.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that. Joined now by Stephen A. Smith. So obviously I wasn't able to see the entire interview, but it's blowing up all over social. When you said I'm not mad at that, what were you not mad at?
Well, I'm not mad at the fact that he's clearly playing to the marketability of his children, and he's not being apologetic about that. He's making it very, very clear that in this day and age, there's a plethora of corporations, individuals, hanger-ons, whomever, that try to make money off of children all the time. Whether it's the sports leagues themselves, whether it's the NCAA, whether it's AAU and beyond, everybody is finding a way to exploit to these kids. He's like, these are my children. These are my sons. I trained them. I helped them get to this point. And I'm putting the world on notice that their talents...
I don't know if you've heard, LaVar Ball had some comments about LeBron's son. LeBron heard those comments while here in Los Angeles and commented essentially saying, you've been warned, keep my children's name out of your mouth. Basically, it's dad to dad. Don't bring my family into this. LaVar Ball on First Take earlier, the show that precedes ours, and he didn't back down. Let's take a listen.
Anytime you talk about somebody's kids, people get real touchy. Okay, that was my